My mother was born August 7, 1935, in Ponce, Puerto Rico. She was about 11 years old when her family moved to the States and settled in New York City. When I asked my mom what she wanted to be when she grew up, she said she wanted to be a dancer, but that her father would never let her. She was what you would call back then a girly girl, dressed to the nines in a cute new dress and sparkling jewelry. She wasn't a fan of putting on a gym uniform and reminisced of the days of sewing and cooking classes. When she was in her early 20s, she fell in love, had a couple kids, a girl and a boy, my older sister and brother. Settled into the first projects of Spanish Harlem, my mother set off to raise her perfect little family. A few short years passed, and a separation later, my mother found herself raising 2 small children on her own. She was also Roman Catholic, and being pro-life was a topic that was very dear to her. With the country conflicted after Roe v. Wade in 1972, my mom decided to do her part and started fostering children full-time. She had fostered a handful of children, and in 1979, she got this little girl with blonde hair and green eyes. I think my mom loved the idea of having a little girl again. She had successfully adopted her first child, but she felt called to keep her home open and do more. Some foster kids continually came and went. And then in 1991, she got a call about a little girl who might be sick. That didn't stop her from saying yes, even at the age of 56. That little girl was me. Her oldest son had moved up to Binghamton around that time and settled down at a church called Pierce Creek. My mother was happy that her son got away from the crazy city life and was surrounded by people who loved Jesus. She visited during the summers and even brought me up for a pro-life rally when I was a baby. She met Pastor Dan and his wife Judy, and she asked that they pray for healing in my body. When she learned my biological mother had another baby, my mother's response, "I'll take that baby too." One admirable trait that my mother had was that she was patient. She prayed and waited. Prayed and waited. Having a parent that was much older than my peers' parents wasn't the most glamorous thing in high school, but she always made sure we did our best. She got to see us graduate high school and college. Midway in my career, I started a family of my own. My mother never skipped a beat in being surrounded by children, and she adored my sweet Cecilia. My mom was well versed with preemies, and she knew Cecilia was going to be okay. Shortly after Cecilia was born, my sister, my mother's oldest biological daughter, passed away. My mom didn't show a lot of emotion when she passed, though I know that had to be one of the hardest days of her life. I couldn't be more grateful that she had my daughter to focus her energy on these last 9 years. She got to play the role of full-on grandma, from giving her all the sweets in the world to getting her off the school bus. She loved to see Cecilia dance, and I think she saw a little bit of herself in her. She loved all her grandchildren so dearly. Though her health started to decline, she was still as sharp as a nail. She could no longer do the things she loved on her own, but she did her best not to complain. She got to spend the last few months of her life surrounded by her granddaughters and family she didn't often get to see. She extended love to new family members, and I'm so glad she got to dance one more time.